Monday, day 3, would see us ride from Rochachamberg to Ulrichen. That's a tough word to say, is that? Which only meant one thing. Mountains, valleys and passes. Bring it on. This is what we came here for. We left the hotel and were immediately climbing, zigzagging our way up the mountain located there. Initially with the lake view etched in our rear mirrors, until we reached the summit and started to descend down the other side. And I must say, the views of the lake from up there were amazing. The number of times I wanted to stop was unreal, but couldn't because time was of the essence. The thing with Switzerland is, around every turn in the road is another stop the bike photo opportunity. They're relentless. And had I been on my own, I would have done exactly that. I'd have pulled over, whipped the camera out, snapped my picture and straight back on the bike. Then straight on the move again. All done within a matter of 2 minutes max. However, with a group, it's no longer a 2-minute stop. It'll manifest into a 10+ minute stop. Times that by multiple stops and time is soon eaten up. And then next thing we know, we're not getting to the hotel till midnight. It was just time we could not afford. So I had to keep these stops within reason. So unless it really was a jaw-dropping view, and as long as there was somewhere we could safely all pull in, it wasn't going to happen. Everyone would just have to soak the image into their brain as we rode by. Then typically we came to our first road closure. I took the detour with everyone following, but I thought I could just nip up another side road, but no luck there. Every time we passed one, it seemed to be close too. My sat-nav was constantly booming in my ear, perform a U-turn, but that just couldn't happen. I needed to ignore it and work it out for myself. After Andrew and I had passed through some traffic lights that everyone else had to stop at, it gave me the chance to switch my sat-nav to map mode and try and zoom in a bit and identify a new route, which would eventually bring us back to our target destination route, but a bit further on. After about 5 minutes, they all came through and caught us up. I was watching for them in my mirrors and then pulled away from the side of the road. I navigated us well and got us back on track and only lost a bit of time in the process, to be fair, despite the few mile detour. As part of my planning, I took them on a typical Trev road, an off the beaten track road, which I love. And when I say track, it did have some tarmac on it, so that's one positive, but literally it was only 6 feet wide at best. We started to climb slowly, heading upwards, and then it came a tight right-hand turn, which immediately went uphill very steeply. Not sure what the gradient was, but it certainly was steep. I thought to myself, right, this is their first real test for them. This was where the additional tight turn practice I did with most of them a couple of weeks prior before we came should hopefully pay off. I went round it and constantly watched my mirrors, counting the bikes as each came round. Glad to say, everyone made it. So onwards and upwards we went. Constantly on today's ride, the locals were all out tending the grasslands, which is common in Switzerland. These giant lawn mowers mowing away on the hillsides, and they were on really steep hillsides as well, whilst they walked behind controlling them, which meant there was always this constant smell of cut grass, and it was a beautiful smell that never seemed to leave us, and it mingled with the fresh, clean alpine air. After about 1 hour 30 minutes, I came upon a lovely farm that had a sign saying it sold coffee. So guess what? I quickly pulled in. Our views there were amazing. Our first stop of the day was in a place called Schwändi. I think I've said that right. Having then rode further through some lovely twisting valley roads and nice little towns, we came to our first main mountain pass. We arrived at Glarus Nord, the start of Klausen Pass. A lovely pass with quite a lot of hairpin bends and a lot of single lane tarmac, and it reaches up to a height of 1,948 metres, but with plenty of knock yourself out constant scenery. After a couple of stops on the pass for the customary photo, we eventually arrived at the summit point right next to quite a big gravel car park. Stopped somewhere in the middle of the car park, so not too far from the summit height sign. After taking some photos with my phone, I proceeded to get me proper camera out of one of the side panniers. I walked to one end of the car park and took some really nice shots down the valley. I took a few of the others posing with their bikes with that awesome view as a backdrop, and then I walked to the other side of the car park and proceeded to get some great shots down the other side of the valley. I returned past my bike and met up with the others. I then felt for my keys, which should have been in my pocket. I thought I'd put my camera away and would need it for the pannier, and it wasn't there. I really pushed my hand as deep as it would go into the small pocket, but no, it was empty. I started to check my man bag I had around my shoulder and under one arm, which sat nicely inside my jacket. Now this held my passport and my phone, all the major items of great importance. It wasn't in there either. Panic started to set in. I quickly went to the bike and checked the ignition, because on numerous occasions I've left the key in the ignition. Rhonda the Honda wasn't keyless, unlike my Harley, but alas, no key there. I started to really panic now, and I think everyone had noticed on my face something wasn't quite right. They were asking what was up. I explained the situation and they all started walking around the car park. Everywhere I'd been, but no one could find it. After a couple of minutes, I think everyone else had started to panic a bit as well. Me being the tour leader, they needed me. I decided to put my camera on my bike seat, and as I did, I looked at the pannier in front of me, and sure enough, there was the key, still in its lock. You cannot open the pannier without the key, or lock it for that matter. Talk about feeling stupid, but there you have it, Keygate. And from that point on, every time I stopped and got off the bike, someone would yell, "Don't forget your key!" It became a common joke for the remainder of the day. After the Keygate incident and my heart had calmed down, we made our way off the pass. We continued till we arrived at Bürglen. Now the pass had been a fantastic 29-mile stretch of tarmac with fabulous mountain views. But our arrival in Bürglen afforded us a well-deserved late lunch. Our journey then continued to Andermatt, and then the start of the world-renowned Furka Pass. This was the highlight of today's ride. The pass is roughly 10.25 miles long, but boy does it have plenty of hairpins. It reaches an altitude of 2,429 metres and was exactly what we came to Switzerland to see and conquer. We rode and came upon a lovely cascading waterfall, so we had to stop. It also had the original bit of road of the Furka Pass. The journey continued until we got to the Goldfinger photo stop, but sadly I missed the signpost. How? I don't know. So that's one I'll have to rectify on a later tour. But that would have made for a great photo. That said, we did get some great scenic shots still, and our route took us to the Grand Tour of Switzerland photo stop, which is a sight to see. However, all the stickers plastered on it, in my opinion, detracts from it. But that didn't stop us having some photos there. And Dave and Helen, they stuck their own sticker on it too. Continued to and straight past the Belvédère am Rhone Glacier Hotel. Now anyone who visits this area knows this is a must stop for a photo. It's famous if you didn't know, obviously from the movie Goldfinger. We did however ride straight past it, enjoying the hairpins heading down the pass where it's located. Now I had method in my madness for not stopping. One, it was very, very busy and the car park was full and would have made it difficult for us to all park up. But I knew I'd be passing it again during another morning's ride, heading in the opposite direction, up past it. So the photo stop would be coming and hopefully it wouldn't be too busy. We had not come all this way to miss out on that opportunity, being able to say, been there and got the photo, maybe not the t-shirt though. We continued our journey down off the pass, sadly stuck behind a slow-moving coach, which obscured my view, but just was impossible to get past. And once at the bottom, as you continue along the side road of the mountain, you cannot help but look up to your right. You see the zigzag of Grimsel Pass, and it stands prominent and keeps you longing for more, but that's another story. Our day was nearly complete. But funnily, despite feeling a degree of fatigue, the adrenaline, the magnificent views and the thrills of the road, I didn't want the day to come to an end. However, hunger was creeping in now. So we made our way the remaining 5 miles or so to Ulrichen and the Astoria Hotel, where a nice room, shower and a cold drink or two, but more importantly, a lovely evening meal awaited us. The topic of the evening was the weather for the next 3 days. Now, John had this great weather app, and Tuesday was going to be nice until about 5 p.m. anyway. Wednesday was looking to have quite a few showers, but Thursday was looking to have heavy rain and thunderstorms. Now, since Thursday's ride was really the pinnacle of the tour, we decided to bring it forward so it had the better weather. This leg had a lot of big name passes, and we preferred to do them in the sun and the dry roads. Today's ride had seen us ride 156 miles through some stunning Swiss valleys and truly into the Swiss Alps. After the evening meal was over, I took myself off to speak to my wife, let her know I was still in the land of the living, before doing my videography of the day's events. This was the start of a mixed bag of emotions. Sadly, one of my dogs had taken ill, developed diarrhoea which had got blood in it, and was also vomiting. Janice had taken the kids and both dogs to our holiday home in Brid the previous night, and she'd woke up to a bit of a mess in the back door hallway. Max, our dog, had not improved any by midday, so Janice had brought everyone back home and took him to the vets. They immediately said he had to stay in and be placed on a drip as he was seriously dehydrated. They asked if we had any medical insurance for him. No, was Janice's response. Insurance was something that we'd never had for any of our dogs. And that's all for now, folks.